right?
It's a really nice day.
When do you think Christmas season starts for you?
I've already started making Christmas cards and
Okay.
singing Christmas songs.
Really?
Okay.
Do you like hand draw your
So-
Christmas cards?
Yeah.
Oh, class.
Yeah. So I would argue now
Okay.
the run up to
Like
Christmas
mid-November.
has started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agree, but no one else agreed. So.
No, it's just I think it's just really premature to say that Christmas starts now.
Okay.
Yeah, you obviously like you feel the spirit of Christmas now, and you're like Christmas is right around the corner, and that's exciting. But I don't think that's like,
Yeah.
you know,
You're not there yet.
I don't think we're there yet. You know, when we used to, there was one time I went to India for Christmas, and my dad put up the Christmas tree on Christmas Day.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like literally on Christmas Day, or was it Christmas Eve? I can't remember, but it was like it was either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day that he put it up, and then
Okay.
left it up for the octave.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
Christmas a big deal in India or not really?
Yeah, I mean it's as big a deal.
But like
as it is
even
here.
like non-Christian support.
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It would be
Okay,
big.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Christmas caroling is a big thing. So, like, You
Really?
would go, yeah, you'd go around to like different houses and just
That's
sing.
so cool.
That's so wholesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Have you ever done that?
No.
Have you ever done that?
No.
I think that'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be pretty fun. Yeah, I think people would be receptive to it.
I think
Right,
so.
receptive to
Depending
it
on
in
the
Ireland.
neighborhood.
Yeah, depending on the neighborhood. I think yeah, for sure. Anyways, let's stay
There.
on topic. Welcome on the show.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So, if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and how you've come to Radio Maria.
Amazing. So my name is Laura. I am 19 years old. I'm studying to become a primary teacher. And yeah, I love music and I'm into my faith, surprise. And I came on the show because my friend Maria texted me. And when I got the text, I was like, wow, this is kind of a big deal. But then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Nice, yeah. There's a reoccurring theme with all of our episodes. Like Maria gets a mention every single time.
I've never met Maria actually.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Because Cian only used to work on Saturdays.
Saturday.
Right.
And Maria isn't on Saturdays. That's nice. So how do you know Maria?
So I know Maria through our parents, to be honest. Our parents are friends because they're in a thing called Teams of Our Lady, and yeah, just a thing for married couples. And then I got to know Maria through that originally, and then she kind of came to my house a couple of times, and yeah, that was around the time where we started a kind of prayer group, and she was involved in that, and yeah, she's
That's
a good
very
friend of
nice.
mine.
What was the thing you mentioned your parents were in?
Teams of Our Lady.
Could you explain what that is?
Oh, I'll try. I'll
Okay,
try my
okay.
best. It's an organization for married couples,
Oh.
and they kind of, I think there's like groups of maybe like 3 or 4 couples that kind of meet up monthly and they share their faith. I think that's what it is.
Cool.
I'm not in it
Nice.
personally, but
That's fair because I've never heard about it.
yeah.
Me
So,
neither.
Yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
Nice.
Okay.
And what was your kind of upbringing in the faith like? Or did you have much of a faith background
Mhm.
growing up?
Yeah, so my parents are both into their faith. So I suppose that was kind of the foundation I had. And we always kind of went to mass, and I was kind of involved in a lot of things like choir, church choir, which was great. And I would say in general, my whole family would be quite like into their faith, which was great growing up, that I could kind of see my cousins do all these fun camps and fun Christian things that that kind of inspired me to do my own thing. So I'd say overall that was my kind of faith upbringing. But I guess everyone has their own like actual encounter where they kind of realize that this is what I want to do and I want to do this for myself, and I guess I had that as well in my own way. Yeah.
What was that moment for you?
I was actually thinking about this as I was cycling here. I was
Nice.
like, what was the moment? But I think for me, the moment, there was a couple of kind of big moments. One of them was during the summer when I was maybe 12 years old, and I was spending the summer in my granny's house, and I was chatting with my cousins, and we put on this movie, and it was called I'm Not Ashamed, and it was basically about this girl who, it was an American movie, and it was about this girl who got shot. It was like a school shooting situation. It was like a very heavy movie, but she basically got like persecuted for her faith essentially, but it happened in like the 90s. And I remember after seeing that movie, there was a scene in the movie where, I'm sorry to be so morbid, but they basically point the gun to her head and they're like, do you believe in God? And she's like, yes. And that moment, like that scene, just had such a big impact on me. And I remember discussing it with my cousin who also saw the movie, and we were just like, wow, like that's incredible. That's something we kind of want to inspire to be and to say. So that was definitely kind of a changing moment for me, that like this stuff is real and people do take this very seriously, and I can too. So then I kind of realized, I think around my teenage years, that I really want to build up on this kind of relationship in order to, like, I want this to be such a central part of my life that, you know, this is really part of me. Yeah, and then like other things play in that as you kind of grow in faith and music and things. But I think that would kind of be the moment that kind of sticks out to me.
Yeah, I feel like as adults that would be something that kind of just flies over your head when you watch any movie. But at kind of the age of 12, you're kind of really young, and you're like, it's not something that you would experience at all. Like, so it's a very it's a very new thing, so you, like, just by nature you're going to start asking questions about it. But yeah,
I think like martyrdom in general is like really has played a big role in the church's like growth. Because I mean, if you're just someone who's like isn't really religious, but then you see people who are like dying for something, it's like, well, obviously they believe it, like very strongly to be willing to die for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and I mean the example of like the apostles, right? Like that, to me, that's like one of the most powerful, like, I guess, proofs that like obviously they testified that they saw Jesus do all these things, and then they were willing to die for that testimony. So obviously they genuinely like are telling the truth. Because like, why would you lie about something when you know someone's gonna kill you for it? Like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And they saw Jesus as well. They're not
just saying like, oh, I think this. They're saying, no, I saw this happen.
For sure. Yeah, it was a lived experience. Yeah. And so what kind of changed after that kind of moment, or those kind of series of moments? How did you like what sort of approaches did you take on that? That makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I think the realization is kind of important, and especially if you have that realization kind of early on, you're walking into your teenage years where there's just so much uncertainty, and you're kind of finding yourself, and you're like, who am I going to be friends with, and all these things. So I think what kind of changed for me is like, okay, I want to put God first in my life, and then I suppose the next step was kind of like, how am I going to do that? I want to use my life to kind of glorify God, but kind of trying to figure that out. And a big part of that was music, to be honest. Like I was saying this earlier to Cian, but I love music, and it's always kind of been something that I felt like God could use me, you know, to kind of serve him, I guess, through music. So yeah, I kind of realized that earlier on as well. And then the other part of it is also it's so important to have a community of people around you and to have friends that are in the faith. So I think that also kind of changed, that kind of became a priority for me. Like, I need to be inspired by other people, and I need to meet other people that are also into their faith. And that's not easy, to be honest, especially when you're a teenager. I think it's easier when you get to college because you have those communities that are just, that are there. But when you're a teenager, it's hard to find those friends. And a lot of teenagers would still be trying to find themselves in that sense. But I think those would kind of be the main two things.
Cool. Yeah. When you said it was easier to find a community in college, how so?
I suppose you kind of just have different, like, you've got Catholic societies or like CUs, and also a lot of just general Catholic communities would be like 16 plus or 18 plus. So I think in that sense it's easier, and there isn't that many, from my experience, or maybe where I grew up, there wasn't any youth groups or any kind of things for people that are, you know, age 12 to maybe 17.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And what year are you in college at the moment?
I'm in second year.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're studying?
I'm studying primary school teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that like?
What is primary school teaching like? It's a lot of hours in college. That was the biggest shock for me.
Really?
Is that you're in there from 9 to 6 every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very heavy, like content heavy, but you're in there, you know, doing PE. Like
That's
we
really
have
cool.
2 hours of PE every week, and
Okay.
we do relays and do gymnastics. Like it's kind of crazy. And then we do art and drama. Yeah.
So what do you actually like? Are you in lectures or is it like small classrooms?
It's a
kind of settings?
mixture. It's a
Okay.
mixture, which is why there's just so much to fit in, you know?
Right.
You have your like sociology, psychology, and all that.
Okay.
And then you also, on top of that, because there's so many subjects, the curriculum is so diverse, you have,
Yeah.
you have like a workshop in every single subject as well.
Okay.
So,
So like, what do they teach you? They teach you how to teach people.
yeah, I mean, that's the point. But sometimes in the subjects, they would model the activities that you can do.
Okay.
But when they're modeling the activities, the lecturer is the teacher and you are the student.
Okay.
So they do this kind of like role play situation
Right.
where they kind of tell you how to react and then they model how a teacher
You
should
could have
react.
so much fun with
You know,
that.
it's so funny. It took a lot of getting used to.
Yeah.
But like, for example, you know, even if you're doing something wrong, they'd come over to you. It's very patronizing, to be honest. And they're like, okay, so if you were the child and I were the teacher, this is how I would help you, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And you're like, you feel so
That
stupid.
sounds kind of fun.
It sounds so fun. I was gonna say you could have so much
You
fun.
throw like paper
Yeah.
at the teacher and stuff. Be like, oh, it's part of my character.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, how do you think there's more emphasis put on like them teaching you actually how to teach or the actual content of like the subject?
Yeah. I'd say they're teaching you how to teach
Okay,
more, probably, because the content is pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Like everything is in the curriculum, and you have books, so you can kind of do the content yourself. For a subject like religion, for example,
Yeah.
we have like a theology module, because so many people, like, you know, if you're teaching in a Catholic school, which is like most
Yeah.
schools, so many of the teachers wouldn't know a lot of the key, you know, sacraments and all that. So we have a theology module, for example, but for things like maths and, I don't know, literacy, we know the stuff already.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
right. Hopefully you probably learned
Hopefully
that
we can read. Yeah.
by now. Yeah.
Yeah.
fair.
Cool. And have you been on placement yet? Are you
Yeah.
cool?
I've been on placement last year and I'm going again this year. So I really
Okay.
enjoy placement. Yeah. It's great.
Any cool experiences on placement?
Cool experiences. I had junior infants last year, which was a shock because you kind of forget how little they know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you not know this?
Yeah.
You can't even spell your name?
No, it's
Fair enough,
really
yeah.
mental. Yeah, and yeah, I'm trying to think if anything comes to me later on, but kids are gas.
Yeah.
Like the things they say to you. I had many kids kind of trying to guess my age, which is always a funny one. Oh, a funny one was
That's so
actually
funny.
because I did my placement. My mum's a teacher as well, and I did it in my mum's school. And the class I was in, I don't know, my mum kind of came in a couple of times, so they were. My surname is Denova, so they were kind of familiar with the surname, but they're junior infants. They didn't cop on. So one of the days I was teaching, and she came in. And they were so confused. They were like, 2 Miss Denovas. And they just like didn't come to the conclusion that we were mother and daughter. So like I remember
so
one of the
funny.
girls said, she was like, oh, I think, is it because you're born on the same day? And then another girl was like, you don't look like twins. And it's just like, it just
That's
didn't
so
click.
sweet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
class. Do you
Super
think
funny.
do you think there's like a grade that teachers would prefer to teach?
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely. Everyone has their preference. Especially if it's like senior classes versus junior classes. You kind of know where you
Yeah.
fall. Yeah. But I don't know my preference. I think my preference is the senior classes, but I haven't experienced enough to know
Mm.
that. But it's tough as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose they're all sort of formative years, but especially when
I
like
feel like the junior are the most.
junior the most. Yeah.
Because like I remember my junior and senior kindergarten teacher,
Really,
Mrs. Gatto. Yeah,
this is Gatto.
yeah.
Can I remember my?
I think it means like cat or something in Italian.
Let's guess.
maybe I don't speak Italian.
Fair.
Yeah. Do I remember my primary school teachers? I would like remember their
Sounds like
faces.
no.
No, I actually kind of don't. Yeah, I
Fair.
remember their faces, but I wouldn't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're triggered now, eh?
I knew. See, there was. No, I know they're like I know what they look like, and I know like some of the really cool like
Yeah.
experiences I've had with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was one. My first class teacher was in the army,
Okay.
and so he left like midway through, like a
Right.
year, and we had like a substitute teacher for a few weeks. Then he came back, and he came back in his like army suit.
with his gun.
No, but he came back in his army suit. And he had like the paint on his face
Oh,
and
snap.
everything.
That's mad.
And we were like, "Oh, welcome back!" And he took us out, and he did like a proper army course, like
Oh,
one of those
snap.
like training courses.
Right.
And we like took the paint and he painted all of our faces.
That's
Like
so
that's such a
cool.
cool thing
That
for a
is
child
cool.
in
That's
like
That
first
is cool.
class. But yeah, so he was really cool. He was I think
so
probably
fun.
the coolest primary teacher I had.
Fair. Do you think you would do that or no?
Come in an army suit.
Yeah, I'm like with the.
Sure, if it's gonna
I think
benefit
that'd be
you.
like
Wow.
a good experience.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, I mean you could just do it with music. You could
True.
do so
Yeah.
many cool things.
Yeah. I
So,
do.
how did you get into music? Was it like through? You were saying you were in the choir in church and stuff.
How did I get into music? Yeah, I think I kind of started playing the piano from a young age. And it's always so funny because my parents are not really musical. And then I just kind of got on that journey and I was like, this is class. I'm going to keep doing that. So yeah, I played the piano and then I kind of got into singing and I sang and played the flute as well. And then when I was kind of in secondary school, I picked up the guitar and I self-learned the guitar.
Okay.
And that kind of led into busking then.
Sick.
Yeah, I do a bit of,
Cool.
I love busking. And I also sing in a choir. So yeah, I suppose music kind of was always there, a big part of my life. And I kind of kept exploring it. And I still do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you still busk?
I still busk.
Cool.
Fair.
Yeah.
Like on Grafton Street or what?
On Grafton Street,
Really?
yeah.
So
Okay.
cool.
I've done other places because Grafton Street is great, but there's other places you can busk as well. Like I busked on Howth Pier and in Dunleary.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dunleary.
Dunleary,
really
not
cool.
recently now, about like 3 years ago.
Okay.
I went to Dunleary and did a couple like sets there, but Howth Pier is a nice place to busk as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys like
Yeah,
Howth, but
okay.
yeah, but Grafton Street's great too.
Would you bus by yourself, or would you have other people there with you?
I busk with my sister. Yeah, she
Oh,
plays the
cool.
violin, so we have a sort of
Oh,
guitar
band?
violin duo.
Okay.
Nice.
and then I'd do Grafton Street by myself usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
This is probably a nice time of year. I feel like to busk on Grafton Street, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like
cold.
some would
Christmas.
say Christmas. Well, some wouldn't say it's Christmas time, but some would say
But it's cold.
yeah. But like the light, once they put the lights
True.
up.
Yeah.
But
The
yeah,
lights
I guess
are
the
up.
weather. Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been to
I
town
don't know if
in
they're
like.
on, but they're
wow.
up
Yeah.
because I was in town yesterday or the day before, and they were up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
What was I going to ask? Oh, the choir.
The choir.
So you were in the church choir when you were younger.
Yes.
Are you still with the church choir, or are you in a different sort of?
Good question. So I kind of grew up in my local church, and
was?
which was Mount Argus in, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I feel like I've heard of it.
It's quite well known because they have a saint there. No, I don't know. So, yeah, Saint Charles of Mount Argus.
Okay,
The
I've for sure heard of
Passionists.
that.
They're like
Okay.
an
Where
order.
is it kind of based?
It's in Harold's Cross.
Was
What?
that the one that we saw? Remember, it was the really big one.
Yeah,
and it was
maybe.
It has like a few statues on the way to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and like
When?
on,
it was like a couple of weeks ago now. We were in Harris Cross for doing
I'd say
something,
so.
and we saw
Oh,
it. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a really pretty
Oh
church.
snap! It's like it's in a little like residential neighborhood.
Yes,
And
there's
it's
like
super
loads of-
nice. And there's a grotto of Our Lady.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that's a
Yeah.
beautiful church.
It is a
really
beautiful
nice.
church.
Okay,
It is a
yeah.
beautiful church. But as I was saying, I kind of grew up going there, but then I suppose COVID happened and a lot of things were just shut down, which is very, very sad to be honest. So then I kind of started going to Gardner Street. I know Cian was on a
Yeah.
couple of episodes
Nice.
earlier,
Okay.
and the Jesuits, and I've been playing music there since, and that's been
Really?
great.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've been to Gardner Street.
Really?
Yeah,
Probably
I used
heard
to.
it.
Do you know the Net Missionaries?
Yes.
Yeah, I was friends with one of the Net Missionaries.
Which one?
Like last year, Emily Green.
Yeah. Family.
That's so cool.
So were you at the youth mass at 7:30 potentially?
I went
No.
maybe like 3 times, 3
Okay.
or 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a really funny story. I didn't meet that net team for the entire year, and the one time I met them was their going away party. So I just kind of rocked up like, "Hey, what's the crack?" And then they were leaving like the next day.
Aw.
But
gas.
yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about that youth mass actually.
Yeah.
What?
found-
Because it's like a really popular sort of youth mass.
Really?
Yeah, I've
I
heard it
just
from a
wouldn't
lot of
know.
people.
I think Matthias goes there a lot, or he used to. I think.
Maybe.
I think I have another friend who goes there a lot.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah.
What was it? And what aside from the choir makes it a youth mass? Because obviously, I presume it's a youth choir. So what aside from the youth choir?
What aside from the youth choir? I suppose honestly, it's just the people that come there. You know, there's a like you said, there's a lot of actually youth people, which is young people, which is rare. I think usually you'd have a mix. And Father Niall, shout out to Father Niall, he's great, and he'd kind of say the homily most days, and he'd be celebrating the mass, and we all kind of know Father Niall. We've gotten to know Father Niall, and then we have chats after mass.
Cool.
So that's really nice to just catch up with the people, and there's a real sense of community there. And even like for the music we do, it would be quite like kind of worship, appealing to young people.
Cool.
You'd think, yeah,
Nice.
So what kind of you're into like praise and worship music?
yeah.
What's your like? Expand on that.
Sure. I love praise and worship music. I think the first time, that's another like story, the first time I kind of came across it, because like I said, I grew up in my kind of local church, and that was kind of church choir. It was great, but it wasn't praise and worship stuff. So then when I kind of came across the likes of Lauren Daigle or Hillsong, I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I remember like downloading them onto like my little AirPod, you know, and like listening to it on the bus. But yeah, I think praise and worship music is great, and I don't know, I really enjoy, or maybe not enjoy, but what kind of like fulfills me as well is kind of also like adoration and playing at adoration. I think that's really powerful. And yeah, over the years I love Rent Collective actually. That's another random one. I didn't even know Rent Collective.
Yeah. See, I know the names because like, I'm on the system, and I can just like when we're clicking random songs, we see the names of the artists pop up. So I can recognize the names of Nice. Because like I suppose when you're in adoration, sometimes you can kind of be, I feel like it's kind of hard to sit in silence, at least for me sometimes, and so it kind of feels just not right that you're just sitting there in silence, and you're not like, God's right there in front of you, and he's like, you know, it feels like you should be giving him all the praise and all the glory and all the thanksgiving, but like when you're kind of sitting there in silence, it's hard to do that. But where you're playing music, you're like you're verbally, you know, giving glory to God, which is an easy way to approach it, I suppose, if you're someone who struggles to just sit in silence.
Yeah, definitely.
What's your experience with praise and worship?
It's not really for me.
Fair.
But I definitely like some, I guess, like charismatic Christian songs that I would listen to, but I wouldn't say I'm like a huge like praise and worship type guy. But I like it too. Yeah. It's just not really my thing.
Yeah. That's fair.
Do you know Joe Rogan?
No.
Are you serious?
Joe Rogan?
Like the podcaster?
You've definitely seen.
Okay, maybe I've
yeah.
Right.
Oh, that's a dagger into Cian's heart.
Wait,
I'm so sorry. I'll look him up straight away.
No, that's fair. What about Joe Rogan?
Is it fair? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
No. Anyway, he has like a pretty big podcast,
right?
And like he's like not Christian at all,
right?
But like randomly he started singing like a super like charismatic like Christian song, yeah. And so it's a good song.
Nice.
It's like why don't you look into Jesus? He's got the answers. I was like, oh snap, that's kind of cool.
Pray for Joe.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
No.
Did you listen to his one with Dion? Elon Musk?
Not yet. No.
No.
Do you know Elon Musk?
I do.
Okay.
That's funny. That's a good one. Yeah. How are we doing on time?
Pretty good. Yeah.
We're pretty good. Any last questions?
So, you mentioned you're in DCU. What's the community kind of like there?
Now DCU is not a massive college compared to
Okay.
like UCD or Trinity, so I wouldn't say there's a massive community, but we do have like St. Dom's Society, which is like the Catholic
Okay,
society.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also have the C, which is the Christian Society. So there's kind of two things to kind of bring students to.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say either of them are massive,
Right.
but there's definitely some kind of things that I try to go to.
Okay.
yeah,
And you're
Which is
like,
great.
are you like on the like board or whatnot of the society?
Not in the Catholic Society, but I'm on
Okay.
the board of the CU, which is
Okay.
random, but yeah.
Nice. Because Dion's like the big dog at the UCD Catholic Society.
Wow.
So you guys should like
We're doing stuff.
collaborate.
With
there's a
Trinity.
good few
isn't
things.
it?
No, we're actually doing stuff with well, I suppose Trinity because they're the closest, but we're doing stuff with DCU as well.
Okay.
Just not yet out there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like in the works.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spoilers, a hint.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I don't want to say it because I don't know if I can.
If it won't happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But no, good few things in the works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited.
It's. Do we have time to answer? Okay, I'm just gonna ask it. But what's the relationship like between the CU and the sort of the Catholic Society? Like, is it? Yeah.
So I think that was a big thing when I kind of like came into college because like obviously I'm a Catholic, but I also have loads of friends who are like Protestants, and I think there isn't a massive relationship, but I feel like even going to like, you know, CU events and like showing them, because they'd be very like non-denominational things, you know, and kind of showing them that like, look, Catholics believe essentially the same thing, even though we practice it in different ways and we've got different kind of other things, but kind of starting that conversation between the two societies is, I think, really important. When it comes to like approaching even like other students on campus, you know.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Who is like Protestant in Ireland? Like, I don't really. Is it mostly like international people, or is it
People
actual?
from the north?
Okay, that's mostly what it
From
is.
my experience.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there are some more Catholics in the north now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
But yeah, predominantly. From the north.
Okay.
Yeah.
Predominantly.
There
But
is
they come here.
yeah, there is still a pretty big Protestant community just that are Irish as well.
Really?
Sorry, they're from sort of that aren't from the north.
Okay.
I don't quite know where. Yeah.
Interesting. Because I would have just thought they're mostly like international people here.
In a college setting, that would probably be the case.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the people, at least in the CU and UCD, I don't know what it's like in DCU, but the one in UCD is definitely filled with internationals. Probably
Okay.
majority of them are internationals.
Interesting.
Versus like the Catholic Society would be Irish.
It would still have a lot of internationals, but
Yeah.
it would, mostly predominantly be Irish.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Interesting.
cool.
Fair.
Cool.
We're just about out of time, but thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today.
you so
This
much
was
for
really, really cool. A lot of little music talk.
Yeah.
inviting me.
I like talking about music. But yeah, Dion's gonna read out our contact details if anyone wants to get in touch with us.
If you want to get in touch with us, or if you want to come on the show as well, we'd love
True.
to have you guys on. So you can text or WhatsApp us at 089-467-2000. You can also email us at info@radiomaria.ie. You can call us at 014-123-456. Or you can write to us, or you can visit us. If you
True.
wanna-
Visit
you
us.
wanna do
Write
that.
to us.
Um,
I'm a letter type guy, so maybe write to us.
Yeah, nice little
Yeah, a
personalized
little personal
handwritten
letter.
letter.
Yeah,
And we can like read it out on air.
that would be so cool.
That'd be so cool. But the address for it is Radio Maria Ireland, St Anthony's Business Park, Ballyman Road, Dublin 22. So until
Next week.
next Saturday, for myself, Cian, Laura, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless and take care.